Okay, let's look at S9-5. In this one, we have a company that has received 73 million for the issuance of its stock. The par value of the stock was only 73,000. Well, that's not unusual because par again is an arbitrarily low amount set by the company. It is not going to be the same as the price that you receive. The price that you received was, as you can see here, way more than what the par was. In other words, they received 72,927,000 more than the par value. How did this get recorded? Well, the entry that they would record, again, it's always going to be what you get is the price times the number of shares issued, and in this case it's 73 million. Now we don't know the number of shares issued, so I can't determine the price, but if I told you that the number of shares issued happened to be 1,000,000, then we can see that the price must have been 73. Now it'd be nice if we could just credit common stock, but what the rules again are is that you are to credit it for just the par value, which is different from the price, which is the par is much lower than the price. And again, if we had sold 1,000,000, this would be 0.0 or 7.3 cents, I believe, if I'm looking at it correctly. So they're not going to sell their stock for par. They're going to sell it for a price higher than. We don't balance. The difference is the extra you got, the excess that you got as a company, shoe in this case. Oops, sorry. The excess goes in another account called additional paid-in capital in excess of par. And you could make up any amount issued as long as you kept that constant, and then you could see how much was priced relative to the par. Now, the question here was is this profit? Absolutely not. All this is contributed capital, i.e. money given to the company, contributed to the company by the shareholders. Profit has to be earned. Just taking money from a shareholder doesn't constitute profit. Now the question has us deciding whether if the par value had been $2 per share, how would this differ? Or if it had been $12, how would it differ versus 15? And the question is, would a change in the par value affect the shoe's total paid-in capital? If I can use this to show you the example, what you get stays constant. All right, that's not an arbitrary amount, but how that gets split between this account and this account does depend on par. So if you look at this, if it were $2, then $2 would go in here, and whatever the amount was that you got in excess would go in this account. If it were $12, we would have more, the par would be greater, and the price, by the way, you have to sell your stock at a minimum of par, so you can't have a debit excess account. In any event, the point of this is that the cash you get, that's not affected by the let's look at it here. The cash that you get is not affected by the amount of your par. What does impact the entry is if this goes up, then less has to go in the excess to make yourself balance.